In this video here, we will be focusing on graphs of sine and cos, particularly for a cos graph in this question. And we are going to sketch the graph and we're going to label all key features. You can see we have the graph of y equals cos of 2x. We are going to sketch it within a domain of 2 pi. We just want to list out the period, amplitude, and the range first so that we can get a good idea of what it's going to look like. And we're also going to draw out a basic graph, just as like a mini sketch on the side first before we put it into our final version. So our period, we're going to start off with, we require our n value, which is 2. So our period is going to be 2 pi over n, which is 2 pi over 2, which is pi. So we have a period of pi this time. Our amplitude is going to be at the front there. It's always going to be positive, so it's positive 2. And just based off these two here, we can find our range. But first, let's actually draw out our mean line, our max line, which goes up to 2, and our minimum line, which goes down to negative 2. You can see here our graph therefore has a range of negative 2, which is our lowest number, and our highest number is positive 2. Next thing we're going to do is draw out the period. So we start at 0 by default, and our period ends at pi. We'll have a look at the domain in a second, but just be patient. We're going to break this up into quarters again. So half of pi is pi on 2, and half of pi on 2 is pi on 4, because we multiply the denominator here by another 2. Now, yes, we'll end up with a third increment there, but don't stress. I might not label it for this, but we can also put it in if you want to. For a cos graph, we start by default at the top, because it is a positive cos graph, and we end up with this first segment like so. Now I'll draw the rest of the shape in for you to see the rest of the pattern for this graph, but if you recall from our previous video, we only need to focus on these first two increments. This first increment here, or this first coordinate or first point, will have a coordinate of 0, 2. So 0, 2 starts here. And then our next increment, or our next point, is pi on 4, 0. Pi on 4, 0. Now that we know what our first increment is, we can continue the pattern of the graph, which fluctuates between the maximum to the mean to the minimum, and back up. So we are at our mean now. The pattern continues down to negative 2. And we are going to just repeat this same pattern here until we fulfill our domain of 0 to 2 pi. You can place all the dots in first, as you can see here, and then you can draw your graph. Now, I've drawn the first segment of the graph in black, but you can see here to fulfill the rest of our domain, we also need to connect the dots for that second period, and all we've done is it extended this graph. So all we really needed was the first 2 points, and the rest of the graph we can just use the same pattern to rinse and repeat. Now, once you're done, we also need to label all key features. Now, key features include our y-intercepts and our x-intercepts. Our first point here is pi on 4. Our next point here, if we count up by pi on 4, we can get to all of the other ones. So if this is pi on 4, this is 2 pi on 4, and so our next one up is 3 pi on 4, 4 pi on 4, 5 pi on 4 is our next x-intercept, 6 pi on 4, and 7 pi on 4. That's 0. Our last point here, which is our endpoint, we need to label. So we have an x value of 2 pi and the y value is 2. 1 mark goes towards a shape. The second mark goes to the x and the y intercepts. And the third mark goes to the endpoints. In this case, yes, our endpoint does share the y-intercept as well, but we include that anyway.